Can somebody please explain this to me because I am at a loss for words.
Wow, these have tanked.
They just die.
Did he roll a bunch of negative into it?
Just trying to figure out, how do you owe $25,000 on a Mercedes that has 170,000 miles?
Okay, so today we're going to be looking at some good old-fashioned car depreciation and negative equity, because almost 40% of drivers with finance vehicles have negative equity, up from 31% in Q3 of 2024 in 1 quarter. Electric vehicles are the hardest hit, with 54% of EV owners are underwater, up from 46% again 1 quarter ago. I bet all of these stats are going to increase as well when we get the first quarter of 2025, but 60% of drivers overestimate their car's value, 18% overestimated by 5,000, and 7% overestimated by 10,000. And that is exactly what we're going to see today. We have a ton of clips to go over along with some of your comments from previous videos. So if you want to be featured in a future video, leave it in the comments down below. But let's start off with the classic, asking car salesmen how much negative equity they've seen.
What is the most negative equity you've seen on a car?
25 grand.
What car was it?
Infiniti QX80.
It was $15,000, Tiff.
What car?
It was on a Jeep.
It was about $62,000. He didn't end up going through with the deal.
What car was it?
It was an almost brand new Ram truck, a big diesel one. I don't remember exactly what it was. He owed about 104 on it.
17,000 on a Ram 1500.
Zero. I just started.
About 34 grand.
What?
Still got it done though.
What car was it?
Mach-E Mustang.
It was just under $14,000, and she still got approved.
25,000.
What car?
It was on a Chevy Silverado.
23,000.
17,000. I think it was a Dodge Ram.
15 grand. It was a 2024 Nissan Pathfinder.
So we basically have American cars and Nissan, which is also Infiniti. Something that I think is very telling about the market right now in the comment section, hearing how upside down people are on trucks is crazy. Those used to be great for holding value, just shows how ridiculous the pricing is on those things. Because I understand why people like pickup trucks. They are so big now that you can lug around your entire family while also pulling something and having more stuff in the truck bed. I mean, you can't really get more utilitarian than that, but when each one of these vehicles now are 70, 80, 100,000 plus. Even on the used market, the prices are just way too high. Lesson here is to stop buying brand new cars, and a lot of other comments saying how ridiculous the pricing is. But one of the comments from you guys, pretty cut and dry. There's no such thing as negative equity, it's actually debt. And that's 100% true. It's just another way to say it because it doesn't sound as harsh as just straight up debt. Negative equity, if you think of equity, maybe you think of housing. People making a ton of money when they sell their house, they have a lot of equity. Even with the word negative in front of it, I mean, it's the same way that politicians talk and tons of people in power. Probably one that you've heard of time and time again is the market is softening, which just means the market is getting worse, whatever they're talking about. But it's a nicer way to say you have negative equity, not just debt. You want to see a lot of negative equity, we could go into the next clip.
Can somebody please explain this to me because I am at a loss for words. What I'm about to show you literally does not make sense. This is a 2024 Maserati Gran Turismo Modena. It only has 7,200 miles. It's going for $96,000. As you can see, Car Gurus is saying that's a great deal. If you look over here, you'll see that the dealer initially had this car listed for $105,000 and they lowered it $9,000 to $96,000. This car sold brand new just 1 year ago for $205,000 MSRP. As you can see, it has a 5 out of 5 condition report score. Never a scratch, fully serviced, and was always garaged. Every option imaginable with front PPF and ceramic window tint. I mean, this car right here is fully loaded and it has appreciated over 50% in value in literally 1 year's time. I have never seen depreciation worse than this car right here.
$100,000 gone when you barely used it. It was garaged and only driven 7,000 miles, but that's basically what you're gonna get if you buy a Maserati now. But we have another comment from one of you guys. So funny, all of this advice, which is spot on, was told to me over and over again in 1987. Nothing has changed except the monthly payments, which are eye-popping. All the cars are overpriced, so you can't really outrun it unless you buy a disposable one like a Corolla, compact sedan, Civics like that, where then it doesn't really matter as much. So I know me making making these videos won't just instantly stop everybody from doing the same thing and losing so much money on all of these vehicles, but hopefully it would persuade some people from not taking this absolute bath just because a majority of the time they want a brand new vehicle. They're bored of their old one or they just paid it off. So let's just get right back into another car payment. And if you do buy a new vehicle, most likely you'd be underwater in it immediately. Some brands more than others, but overall it's just not a good deal at all.
So I got the car when I got out of high school. You know, I wasn't really too smart about the car finances and stuff like that. So I just seen the car. I could, just pretty much blindly sign. But yeah, it was a 26% interest rate and I got it from CarMax. Originally, the note was like 500 something plus the CarMax gears, stuff like that. So it went up to 600. And after tax is 628 or 668. Credit score 580, and then right now, as of now, I don't have anything really down. There's a dealership that I'm working with that they're trying to do a short sale where I can just go ahead and get it settled through. Currently, I'm like an Amazon driver.
Time being, just use the car and just be careful if they're gonna pick it up. But I mean, if that's your only mode of transportation, I would just use that. Just trying to figure out, how do you owe $25,000 on a Mercedes that has 170,000 miles?
So this kid, again, right out of high school, wanted to look cool in a nice fancy Mercedes and still owes $25,000 with a 26% interest rate. Oh, and we're pushing 200,000 miles on the vehicle. You can't really make this up. And I guess I'm lucky that I didn't decide to go buy a BMW that I had no business purchasing when I was 18 or 20 because I wanted to look cool. Because even back then, I did not have any of the financial knowledge that I do today. Again, another reason why I make these videos, a little bit more of the drama, the TikTok clips, instead of me in a full suit with a whiteboard in the background just telling you about stocks and finance, and it's basically just a college lecture and seems pretty boring. Hopefully more people would start getting interested in their own finances and avoid these mistakes as early as possible. But a comment from you guys goes really well with the next clip. For years, my wife made a few little complaints about how she was embarrassed to pull up places in our old Camry. Everyone there had nice new SUVs keeping up with the Joneses, while we had this old thing, but it did the job for a good 13 years. Now we're a family with a fully paid off home, while all of our friends still have mortgages. You just end up getting ahead, and with the rising interest rates, that means they're all struggling. But now everybody has to show up to the grocery store in a GLE or a Suburban or a nice new Escalade when they have absolutely no business in owning this car, either financing it completely or a lease. We could actually see how much you're supposed to be making if you want to drive around in one of these vehicles.
Cadillac Escalade had a record year of sales in 2024. Take a look for yourself. Most people lease these, and the average lease payment is about $1,700. So how much did you make before buying one? If we assume that your total car cost should only make up 10% of your monthly income, we'll add $600 total for gas and insurance, and that means you should be making $276,000 a year before leasing one of these.
I would venture to guess both gas and insurance is way more than $600, but we'll just let that go, because do you really think every Escalade you see on the road somebody's making over $250,000 a year? Highly doubt it, especially with the new popular one, the Escalade V, that has an MSRP of like $160,000. Not only is it ridiculously expensive, if you just look at the previous year, 2024, it's another $50,000-$60,000+ worth of depreciation on top of the crazy car payments, all to just keep up with the Joneses. We can look at some of the comments. It's crazy that most likely 75% of the people leasing them actually shouldn't. I would probably guess even more than that, given their financial situation. You should also be talking about the engines on the 2023. Newer models are going out, and the wait for a new engine right now is 2 to 5 months. Likely a production assembly issue. Didn't even know that was a problem. So you might have some engine issues while you're paying almost $2,000 a month to rent it. You give it back, or if you want to own it outright eventually, you're just gonna lose so much money. Another comment from you guys: spending money you don't have to buy things you don't need in order to impress people you don't like. These people will never learn. It's definitely the unfortunate truth when you start looking at the Jeep Grand Wagoneers and Wagoneers that has become the new popular full-size SUV for the soccer moms now. It's supposed to be luxury, even though it's still a Jeep, and people are upside down a ton of money in them now.
It's worth maybe 45.
Is it really? Oh my God.
It's not even possible. 24 Wagoneer.
Wow, these have tanked.
They just die.
Did he roll a bunch of negative into it?
He said, here's the goal. Trying to get out of the negative equity wheel of death in some type of high mileage option lease.
And he's telling us he's a high mile driver. His only option is an EQ, and that probably isn't going to work for him.
Well, he picked the car. He sent me in. It's an EQ 450. He said that would be the car. I had one at $68,000 upside down.
So $68,000 upside down, and this one's what? This is about 55, 56? It sucks, it really does. And there's more to come.
Yeah.
This is the tip of the iceberg.
This is what's happened after.
The market was so elevated.
And he's going into a Mercedes dealership to get out of this vehicle. Not the best decision to make. On top of him being a high mileage driver, whatever he does for work, leasing an EQS just won't cut it at all. It's an EV and you have to charge it, won't be able to do a ton of miles. That car in and of itself is an absolute nightmare for depreciation, but if he was leasing, he would just give the car back eventually. But because this still is a salesman, we could look at the comment section. If you can't write a check to get out of $60,000 in negative equity, you shouldn't be looking at a $100,000 car in the first place, which was the Jeep Wagoneer, as crazy as that sounds. And then the creator says, why not? Of course he's going to say that. He sells Mercedes. He's going to get commissions from all of these people, whether they are genuinely super rich and want a brand new S-Class or trying to roll negative equity, but still look good in a nice Mercedes. He's going to get a check either way. Paying $100,000 plus for a Jeep is criminal. I mean, their marketing must have been really good for the new Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer. They are unbelievably expensive, but people really have them up there like a luxury car. And now it's coming back down to earth and people are getting washed. Stellantis as a whole right now is in such crisis that we have crazy stories coming out like this.
Y'all, the car market is officially out of control. We have a Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealership offering a buy one, get one free when you purchase a brand new 2023 Jeep Grand Wagoneer at MSRP. They will give you for free a new 2025 Jeep Compass Sport. Here's the catch. The 2023 Grand Wagoneer has an MSRP of $115,000, and then the Jeep Compass is a new 2025, so 2 model years ahead of the new 2023 Grand Wagoneer. That Jeep Compass is probably worth like 35 grand. That Grand Wagoneer deserves a discount of at least $35,000 if you were going to purchase it. And just to give you some context here, the 2023s, 2024s, and 2025 Jeep Grand Wagoneers are not selling. I used CarEdge.com, and you can see this dealer's had this one for 336 days. So yeah, are you pulling the trigger on the buy one, get one free offer from Jeep? I don't think you should.
So overall, it's not an actual good deal, but having these insane promotions in general is definitely not a good sign for the brand. A brand new vehicle that is now 2 years old, never driven, and is still not selling.
I just had a customer who leased a car 3 months ago and she's already trying to get out of it. The car that she's currently driving is a Hyundai Elantra. She wants to get out of it because she just feels like it's too small. Once we got to talking, she told me that she had a lot of negative equity before and she rolled all of that into her current lease. So I pretty much just told her, first things first, I have to have a manager appraise your car and then I have to pull your payoff from Hyundai just to see how much you owe on this car. My manager goes out and appraises the car. I mean, it's a 2025 Elantra, so of course nothing's going to be wrong with it. Car only has 9,000 miles. I'm not going to lie though, 9,000 miles in 3 months, that's up there. As soon as he comes back inside, he pulls the payoff. I'm not going to lie, guys, this is when I lost hope. Payoff comes back from Hyundai at $32,000, but her car only appraised for 18 grand. She was upside down $14,000 in her current lease and it's only been 3 months. I just told her straight up, listen, I know you might not like your car that much and I know you might want to trade out, but as of right now, your best bet is to just keep driving your car and don't even think about trading out.
9,000 miles in 3 months on a lease. That's crazy. And I guess you're surprised you're underwater that badly? But a Hyundai, you could look at the comments, 2025 Elantra appraised at $18K. That says everything anyone ever needs to know about the brand. Another one we've seen all too common around the car scene, especially with the prices, Gap Insurance. Basically just promoting fraud. I have a 2018 Elantra I've had for 22 months and I'm trading it in next month. It's valued at $18K and I want a small SUV and I'm upside down almost $10,000. A comment from one of you guys is something that I think about all the time. Making these videos myself, I've been thinking about buying a new car, but just watching your channel has convinced me just to hold on to my old Civic. New paint and new carpet is a lot cheaper. I have the exact same thing, a paid off Civic that is 10 years old now with 120,000 miles. Sometimes it'd be a lot nicer to have a 4Runner or some sort of SUV to be able to haul stuff because I just have a compact car, but nothing's wrong with it. It's completely fine and has a lot of life to go, just maintenance and upkeep. And then finding these clips and recording these videos also convinces me that I'm completely fine with where I am.
Let's check out how horrible the depreciation has been on the Karma. Now, I don't know who's buying these. I've literally never seen one on the streets, but here you have one for sale, brand new, for $145,000. And here you have one from 2021 with only 9,000 miles for $54,000. So if you bought this car brand new, you would have lost yourself around $100,000, which is insane. Now, I do think these look pretty cool. Design-wise, I would take this over a Model S for sure. I've literally never seen one on the street before, so I don't even know if these are good cars, bad cars. Honestly, I have no idea. And I'm really curious if any of you guys have owned one or know anyone who's ever owned one, if they're reliable. I would think they're not going to be very reliable cars, but I could be wrong. Either way, it's a car I would definitely stay away from.
Now, I've only ever seen this car on the road one time in my entire life. I did not know that the MSRP was $150,000. And honestly, I don't even know if Fisker is a company. They were a company, then they went under, and then they're back with an EV SUV, and I've heard that there's a whole bunch of problems there. I mean, they're not reliable cars. On top of it being an EV, that's why the depreciation is awful. But I would 100% stay away from those vehicles. We have another comment from one of you guys. I just started car sales, and I cannot explain how hilarious it is when people come in wanting to put nothing down, rolling negative equity, and having low credit and getting a brand new vehicle. And that definitely rolls in with the next clip.
The customer that just left the dealership, stupid mad. Not mad at the dealership, not mad at the salespeople. Actually, she loves it here. She's bought all her cars here, but she's mad at the lender. Why is she mad at the lender? Because she's financed 7 different vehicles through the same lender with 0 money down every time she trades in. But it's come to a point where she has so much negative equity because she's traded in 7 times in the past 10 years where the bank won't allow her finance with 0 down. So I went and spoke to her, tried to explain to her, it's pretty much like an avalanche effect. You can keep trading in with 0 down, 0 down, 0 down. But that snowball becomes so big where it's going to knock you over and you're not going to be able to finance anymore.
Now, of course, she likes you guys and is mad at the lenders. The salespeople have never said no to her. Again, it's a commission 7 times in 10 years. Just constantly looking like she's way wealthier than she was. New vehicles almost every year. No money down, and each one of the depreciation hits just gets rolled into the next one. Eventually, until you're just locked out. And if you don't know how bad of a financial situation you're getting yourself into, nobody's going to tell you. The salespeople aren't going to tell you. They just want their checks.
This is what people seem to be missing about these trucks. Look at the used prices from last year's model. So 2023, I guess, yeah, still last year's, but 2023, 7,500 miles for $39,000. That means that this truck's depreciated about $26,000 to $28,000 in the 7,000 miles.
So we've talked about this before, the absolutely plummeting of value of these electric behemoth vehicles that are just absurd. This vehicle was bought in 2022 on Cars and Bids. This basically identical vehicle was just bought for $82,000. Look at that. From $260,000 in 2022 to $82,000 in 2024. It's only got 50 miles on it. This is a brand new vehicle.
And if you've been around my channel since the beginning, one of the first car videos that I ever did, we saw the exact same EV Hummer with an MSRP of $340,000. I think it was like $339. Makes the already $250,000 somebody paid for it on Cars and Bids look like nothing. And then it goes all the way down to 82, which I would still say is pretty expensive for that vehicle now. It's just amazing how crazy people got during COVID. I know a whole bunch of people made a ton of money through the equity in their homes, or maybe they had good investments in the stock market, or got raises or better jobs, work from home, whatever. But I'd venture to guess that a lot of that money just evaporates because they wanted the newest, nicest vehicle to show off to all of their friends and family. Some of the comments from both of these clips, I can't wait for them to get to $17,000 in 2 years, talking about the F-150 Lightning. I know that that particular pickup truck has done so bad, and for some reason Chevy decided to do it with the Silverado a couple years later. I don't know why they think it's going to be any different, but apparently there are some leases out there from certain Ford dealerships for $250 a month with 0 down. That was a lot of the other comments for that clip. Don't know how true it is. If you really want one, I'd look it up yourself. But I mean, we just have clip after clip of these dealerships just showing how much money these people lose to negative equity, to the car depreciation, and they have no idea.
They bought that car from us in May of 2023, and so since she's bought that car, they've put on 40,000 miles. So right now she's at 553, and she owes 17 grand on that car. They just bought a car through a month ago. You see that? So trying to trade out of this Palisade after they had just bought it a little over a year ago and put 40,000 miles on it. I mean, they put 40,000 miles on a car in a year and a half. And just buying it, I mean, that's hard to trade out of when you use a vehicle that much. You know what I'm saying? You want me to talk to them? Because they speak English.
Yeah,
I'll talk to them.
So this guy's job is to go out there and tell the family how much they're getting shafted. At the same time, 40,000 miles is a ton. And it's another Hyundai, the Hyundai Palisade. Just something that people don't really like on the used market. Very iffy with the reliability, but we can look at some of the comments. 40,000 in a year. It's going to be upside down in almost anything, yeah. And then there's another comment, because this is a dealership, you had them upside down. But even though we've talked about all of these slimy tactics that salesmen will use to try to get you into some sort of vehicle, probably out of your price range so they could get a bigger commission check, in the end, you're the one who signed on the dotted line. You need to know the interest rates and the payments and how much you're going to end up paying in total on all of these vehicles, and the insurance as well that's going up all the time. I mean, not having the financial knowledge yourself will absolutely destroy you when it comes to buying vehicles.
Let's take a look at how bad the depreciation has been on the Jaguar F-Type R. Here's a brand new F-Type R for sale right now for $142,000. Now I think this is a beautiful car, but not $142,000 nice. And here we have a used F-Type R for sale right now for $40,000. So if you bought this car brand new, you would have lost over $100,000. Now since this is depreciated so much, does it mean you should buy one now? I genuinely think for $40,000, this is by far the most beautiful car you can buy, and they sound absolutely amazing. But it's a Jaguar, so you're going to have a lot of maintenance issues that are going to come up on this car. Even though the car is $40,000, it's not actually going to cost $40,000 during your ownership. That being said, if you're not going to keep it for too long and you do a good pre-purchase inspection on the car before you buy it, I think for 40 grand, I mean, it's just so beautiful.
It really does depend on if you like the vehicle or not. I think one of the good things is that they haven't really changed the car. I bet the interior and all the infotainment and the screens are completely different, but the exterior of the car from 2022 all the way back to 2016 looks virtually the same. And you're going to pay $100,000 more to get it brand new today. And that's for somebody with an ungodly amount of money. But he also said this isn't going to cost $40,000. It's a Jaguar. The maintenance is going to be crazy, very expensive. Probably won't be on the road all the time. So even getting an older one with all that depreciation is still going to cost you
$11,000, correct?
Yeah, that was the MSRP, but I got a little discount, so I paid about $200K for it.
All right, $200,000. And you bought this last year?
Yeah, I bought it brand new.
Okay, and you're in Dallas, Texas. What are you looking to get for it?
I haven't really done any research on it at all, so that was why I was asking you, like, what is what and stuff. So.
Do you own it outright, or is it being financed?
I financed it.
Okay. How much do you owe right now on it?
I'm not sure. I have to check on that. Probably maybe 140, 150.
Okay.
Not sure.
How clean is the car? No scratches?
Oh, it's perfect.
Do you have any PPF? Do you have anything that you've added to the car?
No.
Any pictures yet, but if you could send me some, that'd be great. I mean, SL55 is going between 90 to 98,000. So SL63, with a little less miles, they're going between 110,000 all the way up to 125,000. There's one for 117.
So in 1 year again, almost $100,000 gone, and the guy had no knowledge on the vehicle whatsoever, any of the prices, how much he even owed on the car. He just guessed that. I just really don't understand people's thought processes sometimes, and it goes along with one of your comments. When I was a kid, I thought thought all adults had it figured out, but when I got older, I found out that most people are children in adults' bodies. Because an SL63 is kind of a supercar. I mean, not really, but you know what I'm saying. It's an AMG coupe. You're definitely paying a whole ton of money. It was $200,000. And especially in the modern day, if you're paying that kind of money, these cars don't even last. We could take a look at a McLaren that is the new hot supercar that all of these influencers are getting, and paying $200,000 or $300,000 doesn't mean that these cars are built to last either.
This is McLaren's interior quality after 47,000 miles. This is the original interior installed by McLaren. It has never been reupholstered, and this seat is just on there with like some rubber, whatever that is, and they just kind of shove that in there hoping it'll stay, which it never does. It does the same exact thing on that seat. My center console, like, why the hell? Why is it moving like that? Oh god. Oh, I just broke it. Oh, I literally just broke it. That has never, okay. What in the world? Okay, that just happened. Oh god. Why is that moving like that? That's barely taking any force. The steering wheel is just, trim is like about to fall off. The key also just kind of fell apart, so I kind of put some band-aids on it, and it seems to be working just fine now. So that is the key to your $350,000 car after you just simply use it.
And I know a whole bunch of people are going to get butthurt that these cars aren't designed for that. I mean, 47,000 miles is a ton for a McLaren, and I don't disagree, but the amount of money that you're paying for it to just fall apart, I don't know. I feel like it outweighs the coolness factor and of course the speed and the power, because this goes hand in hand with every single car on the market, whether it's the cheapest or the most expensive thing you could get. With all of these outrageous prices and people losing money nonstop, it's not like any of the new vehicles you're rolling the negative equity in are built well at all, especially in comparison to just a couple decades ago. So if we want to go 10 years into the future in the used car market, I bet everything from 2024, 2025 is going to have such little value because of how much maintenance and how expensive it is just to keep any of these vehicles running. I don't even want to know what the new vehicles in 2035 are like. I feel like it would be a miracle if you could hit 100,000 miles at that point. But for all the people that do want the looks and the keeping up with the Joneses and looking like you're super rich, we have the last clip that are 3 heavily depreciated cars that look far more expensive than they are.
Here are 3 more heavily depreciated cars that look like they cost more money than they actually do. So if you want to finesse your way into looking like you won the lottery, here are 3 cars for you to consider. Number 1, that's going to be the early model Audi R8. Now the great thing about this car is that the older version doesn't look too much different than the newer ones because Audi didn't really change too much. Of course, the new one looks a little bit better, but you have to know. And the average person wouldn't see this car and think this is the older one. Now, as far as reliability, the powertrain itself, I'll say is pretty good. The main thing I'll be concerned about is just an older Audi and electronics, but you can pick yourself up one of these around 50K, as you can see here. Number 2, that's going to be the Audi e-tron GT. Now, y'all just hear me out for a minute, because this car had an MSRP of about $100,000. You can find one of these now for about 50K with about 15,000 miles on it, and it'd be a 2022. So this car lost about 50% of its value in just a few years, which is totally insane, but you can pick one of these up around 50K, and it'll still have its warranty on it, as long as you don't mind having a fully electric car. Number 3, that's going to be the 2020 Mercedes S-Class. Now, we all know the S-Class is known for depreciating like a rocket, and of course, the 2020 is no different, having some of the latest tech as well as a fairly modern design. If you want to look like you run some sort of big corporation, as long as you can keep this car on the road, the 2020 S-Class is going to do it for you.
So, I mean, it all depends on what kind of cars you like, and if you have this money. As I've said a million times in any of my car videos, if you have so much money you don't even know what to do with, then I don't care that you go get a brand new Rolls-Royce Cullinan or some ungodly expensive vehicle and just lose hundreds of thousands of dollars because you could afford it. But a vast majority of the people that we see in the clips or on the road in the world in general are not the ultra rich, and they're just hemorrhaging money. So that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.